Hello, I'm Samuel, and I greet you all from Oxford, a city shaped by stories. One more year, I'm here to announce the winners of the writing contest Tsundoku, A Treasure of Tales, which remains one of the cornerstones of GIIS Tokyo's annual book week, celebrating imagination, creativity, and the craft of young storytellers from around the world. This year saw our highest participation yet, with entries from more than 20 GSG campuses across 6 countries. Thank you to every student, teacher, and librarian who made it possible. Now, let's have a look at some highlights from this year's contest.
Thank you very much, Samuel, for that warm introduction. Before we begin unveiling this year's winners, let's pause for a brief look at what Tsundoku represents and how the contest unfolded this year. Tsundoku, A Treasure of Tales, is an initiative led by GIIS Tokyo as part of our annual book week, which takes place every December. This is a time dedicated to celebrating literature, creativity, and the joy of storytelling not only at GIIS Tokyo, but also across the Global Schools Group. For 2025, our visual theme takes inspiration from the Japanese traditional motif shippo. This elegant pattern of interlinked circles symbolizes harmony and the endless connections we build through stories. It serves as a reminder that every narrative contributes to a wider tapestry of shared imagination. As always, the contest features 3 categories: grades 4 to 5, grades 6 to 8, and grades 9 to 12. This year, registrations opened in September, participating schools conducted their selection at the campus level, and by October, each campus submitted their top 3 stories in each registered category to advance to the global round. This year, the Tsundoku Writing Contest brought together an inspiring community of young authors from 21 Global School Group campuses across 6 different countries. Let's take a look at all the campuses that joined us for the 2025 edition. From India, we were delighted to welcome 8 participating campuses: Global Indian International School Ahmedabad, Global Indian International School Balewadi, Global Indian International School Whitefield Bangalore, Glendale Academy, Sun City Hyderabad, CBSE, Glendale Academy, Sun City Hyderabad, Cambridge, Glendale International School Telepore, One World International School Whitefield, and Whitty International School Mallard. From Singapore, 4 campuses took part: Global Indian International School Singapore East Coast Campus, Global Indian International School Smart Campus Singapore, One World International School Digital Campus Punggol, and One World International School Singapore Nanyang Campus. From Japan, we had 3 participating campuses: Global Indian International School Tokyo Higashi Kasai, Global Indian International School Tokyo Nishi Kasai, and One World International School Tsukuba. From Malaysia, 3 campuses participated this year: Regent International School Klang, Global Indian International School Kuala Lumpur, CBSE, and Global Indian International School Kuala Lumpur, Cambridge. From the United Arab Emirates, 2 campuses joined the contest: Global Indian International School Dubai, CBSE, and Glendale International School Dubai. And from Saudi Arabia, we welcomed One World International School Riyadh. In total, 274 stories were submitted across all campuses at the first stage of the contest. From these, 117 stories were forwarded to represent the 21 participating campuses at the global level, with each campus submitting the top 3 entries from every category they registered for. After the necessary checks to ensure that all entries followed the contest guidelines, 89 stories moved forward into the first judging phase of the competition, the interschool judging process. This round took place in October. Campuses evaluated anonymised submissions from other schools and scored them using the official Tsundoku Writing Contest rubric, which is available on the contest website. Based on these scores, a shortlist of standout stories advanced to the final stage of judging. Here are the number of finalists for each category. Category 4 to 5, 15 finalists. Category 6 to 8, 14 finalists. category 9 to 12, 12 finalists. In November, the final round took place, during which a panel of international external judges read and scored the finalist stories using the same rubric.
Joining us from across the world, our external judges gave the finalist stories the final wins. They read, reflected, and chose with care. Now, the time has come to meet them, learning where they are joining us from, and listen to the words they have to share with all contestants.
Now, let's meet the international panel of external judges who played such an important role in selecting this year's winning stories. We begin with the panel for category 4-5, where we were fortunate to have 4 wonderful judges contributing their time and expertise. Our first judge for category 4-5 is Rosie Lake, who works at a library at the University of Oxford in the United Kingdom. Surrounded every day by shelves of books, it is no surprise that one of her lifelong favourites is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. Much like Mary Lennox discovering hidden wonders, Rosie approached our young authors' stories with curiosity and care. She has a message to share with all of you. Let's hear from her now.
What a treat to read these wonderful stories. I think everyone did a brilliant job and worked so hard. I'm amazed by the imagination shown by all these young authors, and I love the variety of styles and characters. Keep reading everything you can, guys, and practice as much writing as you can. Great job, everyone.
Our second judge is Ramya Anand, a primary teacher based in Japan. Ramya grew up captivated by Enid Blyton's The Rat-a-tat Mystery, a story filled with puzzles, excitement, and childhood adventure. With the same sense of warmth and attentiveness, she explored the imaginative worlds created by our category 4-5 writers. Let's listen to the reflections she has prepared.
Hello everybody. I got to read your stories and they absolutely blew me away. Your creativity and imagination, the characters and twists, everything was bursting with energy and talent. Each of you brought something totally unique to the page, and it was such a joy to read them. Remember, writing is all about expressing your ideas boldly, and you did exactly that. So keep dreaming, keep writing, and keep sharing your stories with the world, because your voice matters. I'm so proud of every single one of you. Fantastic job.
The third judge for this category is Yetzaneth del Valle Diaz, a university professor from Venezuela. Yetzaneth has a deep affection for The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, a timeless reminder of the importance of wonder and looking beyond the surface. Yetzaneth brought this thoughtful lens to her reading of the children's stories this year. Here is the message she has prepared for you.
Hello there. Thank you for inviting me to be part of your contest this year. The stories I read were creative, heartfelt, and full of imagination. I was impressed by how each writer shared their ideas and feelings in such unique ways. To all the students, keep writing, keep learning, and keep sharing your stories with the world. Your words are powerful and they help connect us all. Great job, and congratulations on your hard work.
Our fourth judge for category 4-5 is Sanjoli Sharma, a primary teacher joining us from Japan. One of her favourite books is Matilda by Roald Dahl, a story that honours the courage and brilliance of young minds. Sanjoli approached our writer's entries with that same appreciation for creativity and imagination. Let's hear the thoughts she has shared.
Hello everyone, this is Sanjoli Sharma, and it has been such a joy to serve as an external judge for this story writing competition. I want to congratulate each one of you for your amazing effort, your creativity, and the courage you showed by sharing your ideas with the world. You know, as I read through the stories, I could truly feel the imagination, the excitement, and the heart that each of you put into your writing. It reminded me how powerful children's voices are when they're encouraged to express themselves freely. Remember, storytelling is not just about writing a perfect story. It's about exploring your thoughts, dreaming big, and discovering how beautifully you can express your ideas. I hope you continue to write, to imagine, and to believe in your unique creativity. Congratulations once again, and keep shining. Thank you so much.
We now move on to the judges for category 6 to 8, a panel of 4 remarkable individuals who each brought their own literary passions and perspectives to this year's contest. Our first judge for category 6 to 8 is Maria Combrero, a teacher and translator from Spain who also happens to be a devoted cat lover. Her favourite novel is The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, a story that captures the complexity of adolescence. With that same sensitivity to voice and emotion, she approached the stories written by our middle grade authors. Maria has sent us a message. Let's listen.
Dear participants, it's Maria from Spain. I want to congratulate you on the incredible work you have presented, on your talent, and for having the courage to show it. Each story reflects creativity, effort, and sensitivity, showing that you have a unique voice as young writers. So I encourage you to keep writing and sharing your stories. Bye-bye.
Our second judge is Federica Busso, joining us from northern Italy, where she recently began her work as a primary teacher. Federica treasures The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum, a tale of journeys, courage and self-discovery. She read this year's entries with that same sense of openness and adventure. Here are her words.
Hey writers, I just want to say how incredibly proud I am of every single one of you for jumping into this contest this year with so much creativity and courage. You didn't just write, you just dared to imagine, to dream, and to put your voice out into the world in the most amazing way possible, and that takes real bravery. No matter the result, you've already achieved something really big. So please keep writing, keep creating, and keep believing in your talent. The world needs your story, so don't stop now.
Next, we have Xutlautzin Montes Leon, who joins us from Mexico, where she teaches English to university students. One of her favourite books is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, a story that blends emotion, tenderness and quiet strength. Xu brought this thoughtful eye to her reading of our young author's work. Let's hear the message she has prepared.
Hi everyone, it has been amazing to see what each one of you has created. You wrote stories full of imagination, emotion, and personality. But most importantly, you did it, and that already makes you real writers. I think that writing isn't easy. It takes courage to look at a blank page and decide to make something out of nothing. And that's what you just did. Some of you made us feel your characters' emotions. Others built whole worlds. And many of you showed a voice that is already your own. I believe that is something truly special. If you enjoyed writing these stories, I hope you don't stop here. Keep practicing, keep reading, keep imagining, and keep turning your ideas into stories.
Our fourth judge for category 6 to 8 is Leticia Abreu, a Spanish healthcare assistant now living in Canada. She holds a special fondness for Chippy by Mario Lodi, a story about learning, curiosity, and courage. Leticia brought that same thoughtful spirit to her reading of this year's middle grade stories. Let's listen to her message.
Hi everyone, congratulations on your submissions. I really loved reading all of your work. You all chose such unique themes, and it was amazing to see your interest to come to life in such creative ways. There is so much talent here, so keep writing. I can't wait to read more of your stories in the future.
And now we move on to the panel for category 9 to 12, where 3 judges brought their expertise and a deep appreciation of literature to the final stage of this year's contest. Our first judge for category 9 to 12 is Jose Daniel Barreto de Leon, a radiographer from Spain. His favourite series is Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials, known for its philosophical depth and richly imagined worlds. With that same appreciation for layered storytelling, Daniel read the senior category entries with great insight. Here are his thoughts.
Huge congratulations to all of you for taking part in this writing contest. You have done something brave and powerful, taking the stories, ideas and feelings in your head and putting them into words. That is not easy, and it's exactly what real writers do. Whether you won a prize or not, you have leveled up your skills, your imagination, and your confidence. Keep reading, keep writing, and keep sharing your voice with the world.
Our second judge is Akanksha Dhawan, a former teacher and now conference manager who joins us from India. Her favourite book is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, a novel cherished for its heart, ambition and enduring characters. Akanksha brought that same understanding of character and emotion to this year's judging process. Let's hear her message.
This is my third year when I got this opportunity to be part of this contest again and able to read such creative stories. So thank you, Sam, and thank you to all these lovely kids for writing such amazing stories and sharing with us. You remind me of my childhood when I used to write stories, but you have more guts and you are able to share with everyone. I'm really happy to know that, and I'm happy that I'm part of this journey. Thank you once again.
Lastly, we have Sam Gormley, a school librarian from Oxford. His favourite book is The Blue Book of Nebo by Manon Stefan Roz, a novel that beautifully blends quiet storytelling with emotional power. Sam approached the senior category stories with that same appreciation for thoughtful and compelling writing. Let's listen to the message he has shared.
Hi everyone, it's Sam here. I just wanted to say how amazing it was to be able to take part in the judging for this competition. I was just so impressed by the originality and the creativity on display in all of these stories. The use of genre, the use of narrative, and the confidence in the writing were all really amazing, and it was very hard to pick just one winner. So huge congratulations to you all, and keep writing.
Now let's talk about the prizes. One thing countless great writers have said in one way or another is that the first step to becoming a good writer is to read, and to read widely. Read everything you can get your hands on. So naturally our prizes are books. Third place winners receive 1 book to spark new ideas. Second place winners get 2 books, double the inspiration. And our first place winners take home 3 brilliant books to keep their imagination buzzing.
And now, the moment everyone has been waiting for. The announcement of the winners of this year's Tsundoku writing contest. Let's meet the students whose stories reached the summit of the Story Mountain.
We begin with the story that claimed 3rd place in category 4-5. A vivid adventure set in a world where nature's voice is fading, this tale follows a brave journey through mystery, danger, and unexpected discoveries. Filled with imaginative creatures and a quiet sense of urgency, it offers something both exciting and gently reflective. A thoughtful and atmospheric piece that celebrates courage, hope, and the importance of caring for the world around us. And now, the title of the winning story will be revealed in Whispering Wilds by Advika Tiwari CBSE 4A from GIIS Kuala Lumpur CBSE, Malaysia. Exceptional work, Advika. Next, we move on to the 2nd place story in category 4-5. A spirited dream quest that sweeps readers into enchanted kingdoms, mysterious towers, and magical creatures. With playful humour threaded through moments of tension, this story blends lively world-building with adventure and charm. Bravery, imagination, and unexpected twists come together to create a tale that is wonderfully whimsical and full of heart. And now, the title of the winning story will be revealed in Winston's Night of Adventures by Daksh Skandesh Rajan IBPYP 4B from OIS Singapore Nanyang campus. Amazing work, Daksh. And now the 1st place story in category 4-5, the top honour of the category. A moving and imaginative tale that journeys from wonder to heartbreak as the reality of a changing planet unfolds. With vivid contrasts and gentle symbolism, it portrays a world marked by loss, pollution, and fading natural beauty. Emotional, reflective, and resonant, this piece invites readers to consider human responsibility, a powerful story that lingers long after it ends. And now, the title of the winning story will be revealed in When the Rain Stopped Singing by Kanaya Chieko Pathirana, IBPYP4A from OIS Digital Campus Punggol, Singapore. A wonderful achievement, Kanaya. Now we move to the next category, 6 to 8, where we begin with the story that has secured third place. A dark and enthralling tale set in a world where time, memory and destiny collide. As ancient forces stir, the tension builds with every step of a desperate quest. Snowbound peaks, eerie fractures in reality, and the weight of longing all converge to explore the peril of seeking power beyond human reach. A bold and atmospheric piece that asks a haunting question: what is the true cost of rewriting fate? And now, the title of the winning story will be revealed in The Bellkeeper by Manu Vivasvan Reddy Gunapati, IBMYP8A from Glendale International School, Telepore, India. Congratulations, Manu. Next, we reveal the story that earned second place in category 6-8. An emotionally rich and evocative narrative set along a storm-touched coastline where song, memory, and sacrifice intertwine. Through lyrical contrasts and haunting imagery, the story examines what it means to give up pieces of oneself for the sake of others. With rising tension between personal loss and the fate of an entire community, the tale builds to a finale that feels both aching and luminous, a story with the resonance of a legend. And now, the title of the winning story will be revealed in The Siren Who Cries Her Name by Hrudya Divyesh, American Curriculum 8A from OIS Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. A story to be proud of, Hrudya. And finally, the first place story in category 6-8, the top honour of the category. A brilliantly crafted gothic thriller that pulls readers straight into its eerie, pulse-pounding world. Shadow-drenched hallways, storm-lit forests, and tightly wound suspense build with remarkable confidence and flair. Each twist lands sharply, each moment heightens the tension, and each revelation carries readers deeper into its haunting mystery. A standout piece that showcases exceptional command of mood, imagination, and storytelling craft. And now, the title of the winning story will be revealed in The Macabre House by Emma Tan Mei Yin, IGCSE Year 6M from Regent International School, Klang, Malaysia. We celebrate your success, Emma. Finally, in our last category, we begin with the story that has obtained third place in category 9 to 12. This is a tender and introspective school life narrative that captures the quiet ache of longing and the small, courageous moments that shape connection. With finely observed details and a reflective and honest voice, the piece explores vulnerability, self-consciousness, and the flicker of hope found in everyday interactions. Its gentle rhythm and emotional sincerity make it a resonant portrayal of growing up. And now, the title of the winning story will be revealed in The Eraser by Abhyudit Rajesh, IGC 10B from Glendale Academy, Sun City, Hyderabad, Cambridge, India. Fantastic job, Abhyudit. Next, we move on to the story that has earned second place in category 9 to 12. This gripping psychological tale blurs the line between observation and obsession as two friends enter a sleep experiment that gradually begins to unspool their reality. Whispered voices, shifting memories, and uncanny coincidences deepen the unease with every page. Through its clever structure and rising tension, the story explores how curiosity can slide into danger, leaving readers questioning what is real and what is imagined. And now, the title of the winning story will be revealed in Lucid by Ananya Mahesh, CBSE 11A from Glendale Academy, Sun City, Hyderabad, India. Beautiful milestone in your writing journey, Ananya. And now, the moment of highest honour in category 9 to 12, our first place winner. This dazzling and deeply affecting story explores control, clarity, and courage. With poetic language and extraordinary emotional precision, it reveals its truths one striking image at a time, from sunlit riversides to the shadowed confines of a life yearning for change. The tension builds with quiet mastery, leading to a moment of liberation that feels both breathtaking and hard-won. A remarkable and unforgettable piece, distinguished by its vision, craft, and emotional bravery. And now, the title of the winning story will be revealed in... Not Love, by Arushi Sali, CBSE 12A, from GIIS Tokyo, Nishikasai, Japan. Your work has truly impressed the judges, Arushi. A round of applause to all our winners. Your imagination, dedication, and sheer creative spark have lit up this year's contest, and every one of you should feel incredibly proud of what you've achieved. Before we bring this celebration to a close, we now turn our attention to the finalists. This year, the level was outstandingly high. These are the stories that followed closely behind our top 3 in each category. An impressive constellation of voices that came remarkably close to the podium. Earning a place among the finalists is no small accomplishment. Each of you brought something distinctive to the table, and your stories added depth, colour, and brilliance to this year's competition. Thank you for writing with courage, for sharing your worlds with us, and for helping make Tsundoku 2025 a celebration truly worth remembering. Before we bring our celebration to an end, here's something important to remember. Every one of the 89 global participants in this year's Tsundoku writing contest will receive a certificate, whether winner, finalist, or participant. Every story matters and every voice counts. And speaking of stories, all 89 entries will be digitally published on the Tsundoku website for everyone to enjoy. As an extra token of appreciation, each participating campus will also receive the Tsundoku 2025 bookmark customizable template, available in 10 variations. Students can personalize it with the title and artwork of their story and, of course, their name. A small keepsake to slip between the pages of their next favourite book. Wherever life takes you next, take a book with you, and perhaps a notebook too. Keep turning pages, keep reading, and keep writing.
Thank you to all participants for bringing a rainbow of styles, genders, plots and twists to this year's contest. Without you, it wouldn't have been possible. And now, we turn to the other highlight of GIIS Tokyo's Book Week, the virtual author visit, which this year featured the acclaimed children's author Cressida Cowell. Please enjoy.
Tokyo. Welcome to this year's virtual author visit, for which we are honored to be joined by the acclaimed British author, Miss Cressida Cowell. This special event is part of our Book Week celebrations here at Global Indian International School in Japan. I am Purvi Chauhan, and alongside me is Ayumu Mizushima. It is our pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to this wonderful occasion. Our school is made up of 4 campuses, all in Edogawa, a vibrant ward in the eastern part of Tokyo metropolitan area.
At our school, we come with different curriculums: CBSE, IGCSE, IBDP, and Cambridge Lower Secondary for the secondary students. For the primary students, our school offers CBSE and IBPIP, and Global Montessori for the preschoolers. Ours is a dynamic education framework aimed at fostering all-round development of the students through integrated holistic approach towards learning. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you all our school principal, Ms. Sunita Kashyap, who would like to share a few words with us. Over to you, ma'am.
Dear students, parents and teachers, it's a pleasure to welcome Ms. Cressida Cowell, eminent author of the series How to Train Your Dragon, to our virtual author session today. Her work has inspired readers across the world and remind us of the enduring power of imagination and the importance of storytelling in shaping young minds. This interaction through the virtual author visit reinforces our commitment to fostering a strong reading culture across all segments of our school. In a world that is constantly evolving, creativity and the ability to think originally are essential skills required by all of us. And literature remains one of the most meaningful pathways to develop them. I extend my appreciation to our faculty and our library department for organizing this enriching, wonderful opportunity. Dear students, please participate with attentiveness and curiosity and reflect on the ideas shared today. Wishing everyone a valuable and inspiring session. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Ma'am, for your insightful words. Now, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our guest, the brilliant mind behind children's favorite books, How to Train Your Dragon, and many more, Miss Cressida Cowell.
Hello, I'm Cressida Cowell and I'm the author and the illustrator, which means I do the pictures, all the pictures as well as write words, of How to Train Your Dragon, Wizards of Once, and my new book series, Which Way to the Future.
Every December, before our winter break, our school holds a series of events that celebrates books, reading and literature. This annual event is called Book Week, and I'm sure everyone will agree that Book Week in GIIS Tokyo is loved by both teachers and students. This week-long event contains various activities that bring fun in reading for children. The Book Week activities are:
Drop everything and read sessions. As the day starts, Dear Time is the first hour when all students of grades 1 to 12 get to pick a book of their choice to read in their classrooms as a fresh start of the day. This activity refreshes the students as they begin their day. The next activity is loved by all of us. Book Character Day is when we, the students, get to dress up as our favorite book characters and give a speech about it. We all eagerly wait for this day as we all get to see the kids dressed up as book characters all around and the school turns into a magical castle.
The book cover art gallery is my favorite thing about Book Week because this is where the most creative side of the students are displayed for the school to see. The students design the book covers of their favorite books using different art forms. All the book covers are then displayed in the school corridor. This year, the school corridor has been decorated with 248 book covers, and it is lovely to walk through the corridor with all the exhibits. Every year, there is a writing contest in which all the students get to submit their own stories, making sure that they follow a particular guideline. The stories are judged and the winners are announced, who receive different prizes for their hard work. This year, the competition was held in 2 rounds. In the first round, the top 3 stories from each category were chosen from each participating campuses. In the second round, the top stories from each campus competed against each other. This year, 21 campuses from 6 different countries participated in this event. Today, right before this event, the global winners of the final round were announced.
This is my favorite, the virtual author visit. During every book week, this is the most awaited activity because during this time, we are fortunate to be able to interact with renowned authors. Last year, we had Miss Anita Nair with us, and we all enjoyed the lovely conversation with her and listening to her. This year, we have our favorite, Miss Cressida Cowell with us, and I'm sure that all the students watching this event are going to thoroughly enjoy listening. Miss Cressida Cowell is a British author, best known for her acclaimed children's book series, How to Train Your Dragon, which inspired a successful DreamWorks animation film franchise and TV series. Cowell drew inspiration for her books from her childhood summers spent on a remote Scottish island, where her imaginations flourished amid wild landscape and tales of dragons. Cowell studied English at Keble University, Oxford, then attended art schools St. Martin's and Brighton University, where she learned illustration. She has written and illustrated numerous books, including the Emily Brown series. Her works have won her several awards, such as the Nestle Children's Book Prize and the Hay Festival Medal for Fiction.
Her How to Train Your Dragon series has sold over 8 million copies in 40 different languages, and Cressida Cowell served as Waterstone's Children's Laureate from 2019 to 2022, advocating for literacy and creative media for children. Alongside her dragon books, she is also the author of Magical Wizard of One series and Emily Brown series, created with illustrator Neil Layton, who received major literary awards. She is also the author of Which Way to Anywhere, Tiny Detective Fact books, and several other standalone picture books. Ma'am, thank you for joining us today, and we are eager to know so many things about you and your work. Now, I would like to hand over to our moderators, Harita Lakshmi and Parth Bhaskar.
Thank you, Purve and Ayumu. Greetings from Tokyo, ma'am. I'm Harita Lakshmi Ravishankar, and this is my friend Parth Bhaskar Bomnale from grade 11. It is really an honor to have you here today, sharing your wisdom with us young and aspiring writers. Personally, as a voracious reader, as well as writer, this is extremely exciting. I would like to thank my school for giving me this opportunity. Our fellow panelists and friends are eagerly waiting to interact with you today.
Greetings from Tokyo, ma'am. As I've been already introduced, my name is Parth Bhaskar Bomnale from grade 11A. Before anything, I must really express my enthusiasm towards meeting and talking to an author for the very first time. This is an opportunity to discover new perspectives that I hope will inspire and leave a lasting impression on everyone. I can't wait more to hear about your journey, your inspiration, and your wisdom behind your writings. Well, our friends are also eagerly waiting to talk to you. The first question for you will be asked by Mihika Havadekar from grade 8A. Mihika, over to you.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Mihika and I study in CBSE grade 8. I'm really glad you could join us today. I'll be asking you the first question. What first inspired you to become a storyteller? Was there any moment in your childhood or maybe a creative influence that set you on this path?
Oh, I loved writing stories when I was a kid. Absolutely loved writing stories and reading as well. And I was the eldest in my family and of all my cousins. And so often, because I love reading so much, I would read aloud to entertain them. Because back when I was growing up, nobody entertained the kids. They just entertained themselves. And because I was the eldest, I was in charge of the entertainment section. So I remember reading my little brothers and sisters and my cousins books that I loved as a kid. And so there was a really great moment. I read a book called The Ogre Downstairs, which I loved, to everybody. And they said, please, can I have another chapter? Can I have another chapter? And that is what got me into the idea of writing for children, because I wanted to write books that would make children of today beg to hear another chapter, or would make them laugh, or make them think. That was the moment when I was 9 years old, reading aloud to my brother and sister.
Thank you, Mihika, for such a well-articulated question. Ma'am, next up we have Sora from grade 6, who is very eager to interact with you. Over to you, Sora.
Hello, Mom. My name is Sora Hagiwara from CBSE Class 6, and it's such an honor to participate in this event. My question is, what keeps you motivated to keep writing, even after all your success? What kind of mindset should a writer have, and where do you get your creative ideas?
I suppose I am motivated. I think storytellers, you just have to, if you are a storyteller, you have to keep on telling stories. And so I guess I always find that there's more stories to tell. And I suppose often you're telling things, I go to books to get wisdom. I read books to get wisdom. And I guess I'm writing books to pass on whatever wisdom I may have to other people. And I don't think that ever stops, wanting to do that. I think an author or a writer should be constantly curious, constantly asking questions of themselves, and trying to work out the answer. So when I say I go to books for wisdom, I'm also often trying to find something out. In the How to Train Your Dragon books, I was trying to ask myself questions. what makes a great hero? What kind of a leader do we deserve? And these may seem like big political questions, but actually they're questions that we should all be asking ourselves all the time. What is our responsibility to people we love? I mean, and that's true in a big sense of, if you're a big political leader, but it's also true of a sense is if you're in a schoolroom, if you're in like a class of children and maybe somebody's getting bullied, should you stand up for them? So it's true on a smaller level and it's true on a bigger level. And those are the kind of questions I'm always asking myself. And I'm very curious. I'm a curious person. I think a writer should have the mindset of being a curious person and wanting to find out about things. And so I'm always doing that in my books. I'm always finding out about history. If I'm writing about Vikings, I'm finding out about history. And if I'm writing about my present book series, Which Way to Anywhere, I'm finding out about science. And then I'm communicating that in a really joyful, fun way. And yeah, so those are the kind of mindsets. And I get my ideas a lot from real history, even though I'm writing fantasy. I will find out some incredible fact about Vikings, like I'll find out that Vikings skied. They did ski. I know it sounds so unlikely because Scandinavia was under snow a lot of the time. And so in order to cross, they had to ski. And there are these extraordinary pictures that you find of Viking skates as well. They skated and they skied, and these pictures will give me an idea for a story. How incredible. There's a true story about a Viking baby king who was surrounded by enemies. One of the baby kings, this is true, one of the baby king's bodyguards put the baby king on his back and skied him to safety. True fact. Doesn't that give you an idea for a story? History is so extraordinary. So finding something out like that will give me an idea for a story. Or I'll discover that in Britain, they thought that magic was allergic to iron. And so they used to hang iron horseshoes outside of their houses to scare away the witches and scare away the fairies. Again, true fact that gives you an idea for a story. So my ideas are often coming from true things or something else true. My relationship with my parents, my relationship with my father, something true that I put into a lot of the books. So yeah, I get my inspiration from real life, even if I'm writing fantasy.
That was indeed a great question. Thank you, Sora, for bringing it up. Next, we have Eri from class 7 who's waiting to ask the next question. Over to you, Eri.
Hello, Mom. My name is Eri Shibuta, and I'm from CBS3 class 7. And I'm really happy to ask you the question. And my question is, writing often demands a lot of focus and mental energy. So do you have any habits or routines that put you in the right mindset to focus and create?
Yes, writing does require discipline, which sounds so boring, but you do have to write as much as possible. And sometimes you're just gonna get in your writing shed and nothing seems like it's happening, but you still have to go in that writing shed and spend the time in there. It's like fishing. You couldn't catch a fish unless you had your rod in the water, if you see what I mean. And writing is a bit like that. And I amazingly am quite disciplined because when I started writing, I had very small children. I had just had a baby. And so I had very little time. And this was actually a really good thing because it meant that I had to be disciplined and go in my writing shed at the bottom of my garden. And every time I had, the time to do it, I had childcare, something like 3 days a week or something. And I only had that. So I had to get in there and be in that writing shed. And I had deadlines and yes, it does work like that because it isn't just something that just comes to you. You have to sit in there and try and rework things, and yeah.
Great question, Eddie. I appreciate your thoughtfulness. Ma'am, Anushka from grade 8 is very eager to know your answer to this next question. Over to you, Anushka.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Anushka Rawat, and I study in CBSE grade 8. My question for you is that every writer faces moments when inspiration runs dry. When you feel stuck or out of ideas, what usually helps you get back into writing? Do you have any strategies or routines that help you push through those difficult times?
What helps me get back into writing when I get stuck? I'm going back to that first question when you asked what gives me ideas. I think that finding out about stuff and having a curious mindset gives you ideas. I'm reading lots of non-fiction as well as fiction. That will give you ideas. Asking yourself questions, always asking yourself questions is a fantastic idea generator. So I read masses and ask questions about the world and how things happened, and that I often find, or I set myself a problem. I put Hiccup in a really difficult situation if I'm writing about How to Train Your Dragon, and then I have to work my way out of it. I have to work out how, it's almost like playing myself at chess. I put myself Hiccup in a really difficult situation, and then I have to work out a really clever plot in order to get him out of it. So in one of the books, one of the How to Train Your Dragon books, Hiccup has to stop a volcano from exploding, which is a really tricky problem. And then I have to challenge myself to be really creative to get Hiccup out of it.
That was a perspective question. Thank you, Anushka, for raising it. The next question will be put up by a grade 5 student, Vinisha. You may please speak.
Hello ma'am, my name is Vinisha from CBSE Class 5. It gives me immense pleasure to have an opportunity to interact with you today. My question is, your stories mix humor, adventure, and important themes like courage and protecting the environment. How do you decide when to keep things light and funny and when to bring in more serious lessons?
Great question. These are brilliant questions. I like things to be all mixed together. There was a very great writer from the UK called Charles Dickens, and he always said that you have to have, he had 2 statues actually in his garden, I think, of tragedy and comedy. And he said that you needed to weave the tragedy and the comedy together. And the tragedy and the comedy the comedy makes the tragedy even more tragic sometimes. So I like to think of it, it's a bit like it's like an orchestra. It's like you're conducting a piece of music. So you have, let's say, the tragedy, the deep themes, the serious themes about what makes a leader, about the environment. And I would say they're with a big drum, they're like the cello, and then you have the lighter, like the flute, or like the violins. And that's the comic, that's Hiccup and Fishlegs talking to each other and chatting, or the children in Which Way to Anywhere chatting in their very sort of humorous kind of a way, or Toothless being funny. And that's a bit like a sort of, a lighter flute. And so probably in the earlier stage of the story, you'd have more of the violins and the flute. And as you get to the denouement, like at the end, you bring in the big drums and you bring in the cello. It gets more serious as you go along. And that's true of the whole book series. It starts out, How to Train Your Dragon is 12 books, and the first 8 books are sort of lighter and more humorous. And as you get into the last 4 books, you have your big crescendo and your big themes being worked out. You can do that in for for a child audience, because children are so smart, so you can write about that. And there are serious questions in all of my books about how we relate to the wild. That's a big question, how we relate to the wild and the environment. I'm always bringing those in.
Thank you for that insightful question, Vinisha. Moving on, we have Aoi from grade 9, who is very eager to interact with you today. Aoi, please go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Aoi Hashimba from CBSE Class 9, and my question is, in How to Train Your Dragon, Vikings are said to have scary names, but Hiccup and Ashton don't sound scary at all. Was that a deliberate choice? And what inspired to give your characters such unusual names? And also, if Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon and Zara from The Wizards of Once were to magically switch places for a date, what would they learn about dragons, magic, and each other's challenges?
How to Train, yes, Vikings really did have extraordinary names. Magnus Barelegs, Ivar the Boneless, these are all real Vikings. Ragnar Shaggy Pants, real Viking, So they weren't always, Ivar the Boneless sounds quite scary. Ragnar Shaggy Pants is definitely humorous. But some of the names are often playing games with language. And so you're right, stoic is another word for being very stoic, being very staunch. There's lots of names that are a bit silly or describe, the names often describe the character. So Hiccup and Astrid are not characters where I'm trying to scare you. And Hiccup does have a meaning. It's another name for an accident, because when they first meet Hiccup, the Vikings think that Hiccup is an accident or a kind of a runt, and what they have to learn is that he's the best thing that's ever happened to them. Accidents often happen for a reason, and that's another big theme in all of my books, is that to embrace the accident. Things that are accidental often can be a way of rejigging. Great discoveries are often made by accident. So I'm often writing stories that embrace the accident. But in a bigger way, the Vikings in his world have to learn to respect Hiccup and understand that he isn't an accident. He's the true leader. Oh, interesting question. Zara and Hiccup are very different. And they do have things to teach each other. I think in a way, I've given Zara a character to learn off in a way, because Wish is very opposite. Wish is more Hiccup-like. She's not exactly the same as Hiccup, but she's more Hiccup-like. I think Zara would teach Hiccup to have confidence in himself. Sometimes Hiccup can be anxious, and he's very strong, Hiccup, but he sometimes worries too much. And I think that Zara would teach him to have confidence in himself and to believe in himself, because Zara has an unshakable belief in himself. What Hiccup would teach Zara is that Zara needs to just slow down a little. And Zara, I love Zara because he's the kind of character who acts first and thinks later. And so he could definitely learn from Hiccup just to slow down and to think about things before he acts. He does mean well, so well, Zara. He's good at heart, but he's often in trouble for being very impulsive. And so this is something that Hiccup could definitely teach him. Zara has a lot to learn. But I think he could teach Hiccup something too. Hiccup definitely is much more thoughtful about the responsibilities, I think, of being a leader than Zara is at the beginning of Wizards of Once. He really understands, Hiccup, his responsibility to other people. That's such a great quality, and I wish all leaders should have that. That's a big theme that runs through the How to Train Your Dragon book. books, which is that in order, to be a king, you need to learn, you need to know how it is to be an underdog. Hiccup starts out as what we might call an underdog. And so he knows deep in his bones what it's like to be that person. And that kind of a person with that deep knowledge, makes a great leader, I think. So I think Hiccup has a lot to teach people.
That was a notable question, Naomi. Thank you for raising it. Next, we have Yanze from grade 4 who would like to ask the next question. Yanze, you may proceed.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Yanze Zhao from CBSE Class 4. So I recently watched How to Train Your Dragon as a movie theater, and I couldn't help but imagine how amazing it will be to have a dragon friend like Toothless. If you had your very own dragon companion, what adventure would you want to go on together, and what kind of bond do you like to have?
Well, I have always wanted a dragon. The How to Train Your Dragon books were inspired by a real place. The Isle of Burke is a real place in Scotland. I grew up in London in a house without a garden, but my dad was a mad keen bird watcher. So every year from when I was a baby, we would be dropped off on this uninhabited island off the west coast of Scotland and picked up again 2 weeks later. So the Isle of Burke is a real place. And from when I was 9, my dad had, there's nothing on this island, no houses, no mobile phones back in the 1970s, so no way of contacting the outside world if something went wrong. And real Vikings came to those islands once upon a time in Scotland. And Vikings thought that dragons were real. And so when I was little and spending the whole summer on that island, I used to imagine, what if the Vikings were right? What if there really were? And it was the kind of landscape where you really felt there might be a dragon in that landscape. So I was already making up dragons, that I had my own dragon when I was little. But I couldn't decide whether to have one of those really cute, disobedient hunting dragons, like this one, like Toothless, or whether to have a really cool riding dragon like Windwalker. So in the books I gave Hiccup both. I gave him a riding dragon called Windwalker and a little hunting dragon called Toothless. And in the movies they sort of muddled the two dragons together because there's only 3 movies, there's not 12, like 12 books. So I think when I was little I just wanted, I really wanted to fly on the back of a dragon. So I created these, riding dragons. But then I also really wanted a little hunting dragon. In my books, there are all different species of dragon. So you can discover all of the different species through the books. There are riding dragons, there's big sea dragons, there's little dragon eggs, there's kind of little nano dragons, so small they can sit on the end of your finger. I guess I just wanted lots of different types of dragons, so I've given you a big choice in the books.
That was an excellent question, Yanze. Our next question from the student panelists will be put forward by Anugrah from grade 7. Over to you, Anugrah.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Anugrah from CBSE Class 7. I'm grateful to ask this question to you. Out of all the books you have written, do you have a special favorite? What makes it special? And do you have a character that you feel most connected to? Also, your How to Train Your Dragon books are filled with such vivid imagination that even though dragons aren't real, reading your stories feels like an incredible journey through their world. How do you create such vivid and believable...
Erin, this is such a great question. Do I have a favourite book? I really love there's 2 books in the How to Train Your Dragon series that I really love. One is called How to Break a Dragon's Heart, and that's about 3/4 of the way through the How to Train Your Dragon series. And you suddenly realise, oh my goodness, everything happened for a reason. Up until then, in the first books, you think, oh, Hiccup is just going on a quest without realizing it. In the 8th book, you suddenly realize, oh my goodness, Hiccup has been finding this thing called the King's Things without even realizing it. So in the first book, he found his dragon. The second book, he found his sword, shield. The second his sword. The third his shield. These things have been coming to him, a bit like the rings in Lord of the Rings, without him even realizing it. Everything has a reason. There's a pattern to it all. And I love it when that happens in a book series. So that's one of my favourite books in the series, when you suddenly realize, oh, none of it was an accident. It's all a pattern. And the other favourite one is How to Fight a Dragon's Fury, which is the last book in the series, because it answers all these questions. Will Hiccup become the king? Who are Fishlegs' parents? What will happen, with some of the characters? So I love that one. I'm very keen on How to Train Your Dragon School, because that's very visual. I love visual books, and it's particularly visual. There's lots of pictures and lots of species of dragons. I love non-fiction, so there's lots of sort of non-fiction sections. And again, Which Way to the Future, I'm very keen on that one, because it's the last in the series, so you answer lots of questions. Like, that one's all about children getting magical gifts, and so you find out which gift each child is getting. And I often like the last book in a series because it answers all your questions.
Thank you, Anigra, for your thoughtful inquiry. It's great to see such curiosity. Now, let's welcome Aradhya from grade 5 to ask the next question.
Hello ma'am, my name is Aradhya and I study in CBSE class 5. I would like to ask you a question. If you could co-write a story with one of your characters, who would you choose and what kind of story would you create together?
Oh, well, these are such great questions. Sometimes it feels almost as if the story is writing itself. So you sort of are co-writing the story. I definitely was co-writing the story. Having said I identified the most with Wish, I think Hiccup, I definitely felt like I was co-writing the story with him. Because Hiccup, you're sort of going on a journey when you're writing a story. When I started writing How to Train Your Dragon, I just had a baby. And there's a moment when you just have a baby, when you look back on your own childhood and you think, how was I brought up? And so that's when I started looking back to my childhood on this Scottish island and things. But I was also, so How to Train Your Dragon could almost have been How to Train Your Parent. I was thinking all the time as I was writing those books, what kind of a parent do I want to be? Because I don't want to be a parent. Stoic is sort of a bit like my parents, yeah? That's the way I was brought up. But Hiccup is he's being a different kind of a parent to Toothless. He doesn't tell Toothless what to do. He kind of trains him in a different kind of a way. So I think that's what I was doing. I was almost co-writing the book with Hiccup, because each of the stories is Hiccup looking back on his own childhood and thinking about his own childhood. And it's sort of a bit like the adult reading the books with the child and looking back on their own childhood and remembering what it was like to be a child again, which gives the books a very funny feeling, which is called bittersweet. So I sort of am often co-writing the books with the characters in the story. And it's the same with my latest books series, which is called Which Way to Anywhere, where the narrator is a character called Horizabel, and she's sort of learning something as she's narrating the story, because I think that's what books do. You learn something as you're writing them. These are great questions. And in the second book series that I wrote, Wizards of Once, you have to guess who the narrator is. And I realised halfway through I was because I had this whole question in Wizards once, who is the narrator of this story? And I suddenly realized halfway through the book series, I was asking myself that question. And I changed who the narrator was. So you see, a book series that you like can sometimes change yourself as well.
I appreciate your thoughtful question, Aradhya. Next up, we have Karen from grade 6 who's willing to ask you a question. Over to you, Karen.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Karen, and I am from CBSE Class 6. I'm so glad to ask you a question. And here's my question. Across all the characters you have created in your books, have any character been inspired by real people in your life? If so, who would that be? And how would you bring that connection in your story?
All of the characters I sort of identify with because you have to put a bit of yourself into I say all of them, and even the villain sometimes I enjoy writing. Maybe there isn't a bit of myself in them, but I think I'm most like probably there's a character. I think I'm most like probably Wish from Wizards of Once, who's because I was I identify with that character very, very much. But I put a little bit of myself. I'm a bit czarish as well. I sometimes do act first. I'm very excitable, so I'm a bit like him as well. So I think you put a little bit of yourself in a lot of characters.
Thank you, Karen, for putting forward such an interesting yet relevant question. Next, we have Tanvi from grade 4 who's waiting to ask the next question. Over to you, Tanvi.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Tanvi from CBSE Class 4. I'm very glad to ask you a question. Here's the question. Do you ever include hidden jokes, clever details, or secret messages in your books that only the most attentive or sharp-eyed readers might catch? If so, can you share why do you like to add these little surprises? And perhaps give an example of one which readers might have missed.
Oh yes, I love that kind of thing. A hidden joke or a sort of, or something that you will only realise. I'm always doing that in the books because I really loved reading things again. So I love it when you have something that you suddenly realize, oh my goodness, that happened for a reason. Yeah. So for instance, in Fish Legs, every picture of Fish Legs right from the beginning in How to Train Your Dragon, he's wearing these little crab claws around his neck, and you don't find out what is inside the crab claws until book 12. That's a lot of books to suddenly find, but I love that. I love the little hidden jokes and that, because I always really enjoyed finding them out. Because kids are so smart, and so I like to do things that challenge people's cleverness. And as I was saying before, when you suddenly realize, oh, that wasn't an accident. That was for a reason. And for instance, you discover that Hiccup, in book 1, when he picks up Toothless, and he defeats the Green Death, again, you don't discover how important that is until book 12. You don't discover why that was so important till much, much later on. I really love that when you suddenly realize that as a reader. I guess I'm doing it for the reader.
Thank you, Tanvi, for that insightful question. Before we conclude, Asta from grade 9 has one final question. Over to you, Asta.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Asta and I'm from grade 9. It gives me immense pleasure to be participating in this event today. I'll be asking you the final question. As someone who has created such successful and imaginative stories, I'm sure your journey hasn't always been easy. Could you share what has been the biggest challenge you have faced in your writing career? How did you manage to overcome it? And what advice would you give to young minds who might be facing their own creative struggles or moments of self-doubt?
Oh, yes, self-doubt is a big thing about being a writer. It always is. You always worry that you're not going to be good enough, that you're not going to, your books aren't going to be funny enough, or you write something one day and then you read it the next day and you think, oh, this isn't as good as I thought. You have to work, however good a writer you are, you will still have to work through that. So even writers who've been published, had loads and loads and loads of books published, will worry about that. So you have to kind of push through. Obviously, make your book as good as it possibly can be, and make yourself laugh, or make yourself cry, or make yourself terrified, or make yourself think. These are all things to do to make your book as good as it can possibly be. I don't try to scare you. I try and scare myself. Yeah. But having said all that, making everything as good as it can possibly be, you also have to let it go. And there's a great saying that we have here, which is, don't let perfection be the enemy of the good. And what that means is that nothing is ever going to be perfect. Yeah? So you have to be sometimes satisfied with something that is going to be imperfect. Don't be too hard on yourself. The guy who invented radar in the Second World War also said something very wise. He said, you have to give people the third best. And you have to give them the third best because the second best comes too late and the best never comes. Yeah. So I'm often talking about that in an odd sort of way in my books. Again, I've spoken about this. Hiccup, another name for an accident. Sometimes people can become everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be right. Everything has to be so beautiful. They almost can't get their ideas out. Yeah? Don't let that self-doubt, hold you up. Yeah? Make things as good as they possibly can be, but then let them go and be proud. Yeah? Because they are wonderful. Have self-belief. Yeah?
That was indeed a great question. Thank you, Asta, for raising it. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insightful responses, for sharing your expertise and your valuable perspectives today. I'm sure our audience is already excited to get their hands on your upcoming stories.
Thank you, friends. Ma'am, it's been wonderful to be able to interact with you today. While our fellow panelists were asking you their queries, I must say you were very kind and patient in addressing their queries. Meanwhile, I took every opportunity to listen to you intently, and I must say I learned a lot from you. Once again, I would like to express my boundless admiration for you and your work, and I would like to thank my school for giving me this opportunity. Unfortunately, this event is coming to a close, and although we would like to move on, we have to proceed towards the end of today's event. We would like to appreciate your participation in this event and your kindness and patience in answering the queries of our students. I think we all learned a great deal from you today. Once again, let me express my boundless admiration for you and your work.
I would also like to show our gratitude to our librarian, Ms. Uma, and Mr. Samuel for setting up this event and making it possible in the first place. And of course, it was an absolute pleasure interacting with you, ma'am. Your insights and the passion with which you speak about your arts is truly inspiring. All in all, it was a wonderful experience talking to you.
Thank you so much for all of your wonderful questions. These have been so exciting. I can see how you're all thinking like writers already. The questions were so intelligent and interesting. So happy reading and happy writing.
Now, I would like to hand over the event to Ayumu and Puri. Over to you, friends.
Thank you, Harita and Parth. Thank you very much, ma'am. It has been an absolutely mesmerizing session. Honestly speaking, we feel that it is too good to be true, having been able to see you face to face and actually have a chance to talk to you. Also, It has been amazing to witness all the captivating interactions between you and your classmates.
Yes, I would like to express my sincere and deep gratitude for being a part of this virtual event that inaugurates our book week. I hope that you have enjoyed as much as we have, and I'm sure that I speak on behalf of everyone when I say that today's interaction with you have fueled the love for books and stories in every single one of us. Thank you. Arigatou gozaimashita.
I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the whole team, without whom this event would never have been possible. A heartfelt thank you to all of you. As we conclude, I hope that all of you have enjoyed this wonderful session and found inspiration in the words of our esteemed guest, Miss Cressida Cowell. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.